So sleep is vital for daily function, but did you know that it can be a critical risk factor in your long-term health? Dr. Ken Stewart joins us from KCU in Joplin to share the link between poor sleep and diabetes. There is a lot of links that have to do with poor sleep in many different areas, but we want to focus on diabetes today.
Yes. So let's talk about diabetes. Diabetes is where you produce too much blood sugar and not enough insulin to be able to put the blood sugar into the cells. And there's also what's called insulin resistance, which means it's type 2 diabetes. You actually produce insulin, but you don't produce, the cells aren't receptive to taking up the glucose. So you have high circulating volumes of blood sugar.
And when I was growing up, you would hear about diabetes, but it seems like these days you hear about it more and more. And that's not just, that's because it is turning into an epidemic.
It is definitely, because we've got weight issues in this country. Our diets aren't as good as they used to be, and so people are now getting diabetes because of a lot of things contribute to it. You know, lack of exercise, not eating proper foods, those kinds of things. And then talking about sleep, even a couple of days of not getting good rest can actually lead to increased insulin resistance. And they say 4 to 5 days of not getting good quality sleep can actually decrease the receptivity of the cells 25 to 30% of being able to uptake that sugar.
Wow, so that quickly happens
yeah.
to you.
Yeah. The good news, though, Shelby, is that, if you get back to a good, healthy sleep schedule, if you only have a couple of days of it, you can easily reverse that. The problem is when it becomes a chronic kind of a problem and you're not getting, repeated nights of not getting good rest.
I would imagine as a doctor, that is an issue for you with making sure that you get enough rest because you guys are on call all the time. I used to work the morning show for years and years and years, and after I moved to evenings, that's when it became evident to me that I was sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people probably have that issue and they don't even realize it.
The other thing is we're learning more about hormones in the body. And so, insulin is a hormone, but there's also a hormone called ghrelin, which basically allows you to feel a hunger feeling, okay? When that hormone goes up, we feel hungry. Then there's one called leptin, which actually makes us feel full. So not getting good sleep alters those hormones, increases the ghrelin, it decreases the leptin, which we actually don't feel like we're full, and we have a tendency to eat the kinds of comforting foods that are not good for us, the sugary kinds of foods and that kind of thing. So, good sleep habits, getting good rest, and having good, what we call, sleep hygiene is very, very important. And they should be putting up a good sleep hygiene graphic up there, that things that we can do. We're all stuck to our computers, our laptops, and things like that. We shouldn't be doing any artificial light stimulation with TV screens or video screens 30 minutes before we go to bed. The other thing is establishing a really good habit of going to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time. A lot of people use the weekends to be able to kind of sleep in a little bit later and get up later. That actually alters our sleep hygiene to where it increases our stress levels and our cortisol levels, and those hormones are the things that really regulate our sleep quality.
So if you haven't slept good for a few nights, is it good to sleep in, or do you just want to get back on that regular schedule and go ahead and get up at the same time?
The studies say that you should probably try to stick to that routine. Even if you lose a few hours in the front end, get up at the regular time. It's much easier to get back into a normal sleep cycle if you do that. Same thing when you're traveling, trying to keep that regular pattern. If you go to overseas or whatever, try to stay up as much as possible. Try to get back into a good rhythm so you're getting a good sleep cycle.
That way you're not fooling your body by trying to get more or less sleep. And I've heard for years that all of the people who don't get any sleep Monday through Friday and think, well, I'm going to make it up for the weekend, it really doesn't work that way.
Yeah, there's not a debt that you can pay off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that you could, but it just doesn't work that way, does it?
No. And of course, the habits that we have. So exercising, very, very important. You want to exercise earlier in the morning than before going to bed, because that can interfere with your sleep. The other thing is avoid caffeine, avoid any type of stimulants. They talk about the nightcap to help you be able to go to sleep. doesn't give you a good quality of sleep. You shouldn't drink alcohol before you go to bed.
Is it a
puts you to
stimulant?
sleep.
Yeah, it can put you to sleep, but you don't get the good restorative kinds of rest that you need to let the body recover.
So if you are thinking that you might have a sleep deprivation issue, what should you do? Should you discuss this with your general practitioner? At what point do you go to a sleep study?
You know, if it's kind of a problem that only affects you for a couple of days, you can reverse the effects of that. If it's a chronic kind of a thing where you have chronic insomnia and you're having difficulty being able to go to sleep or stay asleep, you really need to talk to a specialist and see if there's something that can be done to help you get back into a good sleep hygiene.
And are most of those specialists, do they need a referral from your general practitioner, or can you just contact them directly, usually?
You know, they're so specialized, I think you probably would need a referral.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much sleep matters, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. You know, you think we sleep a third of our life, but is it good quality sleep?
I don't like that. I don't want to sleep a third of my life away, but I try to stick to a pretty good schedule, but boy, I don't want to waste any time sleeping in. I know most people enjoy that. I don't want to give up any of my time, so.
So do you two need to have a discussion
Okay.
here after this segment's
Yes.
over?
Well, thank you for all of those tips and tricks, and we'll remember that and get ourselves on a good sleep schedule. And
Fantastic.
we appreciate you being here.
I'm happy to be here.
And this show is called Living Well. And if you're not healthy, you're not, well, you know, living well. So when you have health-related questions, fire up the browser and pull up our website.
And in case you've forgotten, that's fourstateshomepage.com. Spend a little time there. You'll be feeling better in no time.